For this extra credit video, we're going to look at how to edit a room tag so that it shows all of your furnishings from your schedule. So in here, in our exercise, we put in some finishes in the primary bathroom. So let's go there and edit this tag. So we'll double click to enter the view from the sheet. And then if you double click on the tag, oh, actually, it wants you to edit what's in the tag. We don't want that. So just highlight the tag once and then go up here and it says edit family. Click there. And it'll now bring you into the family editor. And now you've opened that tag file. So in order to understand what's happening and how to edit a tag for a room, you need to know the different parts. So these are what's called a label. And all a label is doing is you're telling it to read a property about the room. So this is the room name label. So what this is going to do is when you take this tag into your project and you place it inside a room, it will automatically go into, it'll open up that room's properties and it'll look for the name property and it'll display it in the tag. And that's all this number is doing. This is a number label. Then you have down here, you have the volume label and the area label. So again, all these labels are doing is they're looking at the properties of the room and displaying them. So in order for us to show the finishes of the room, all we have to do is create labels that go in and look at the room and pull out the different finishes that we want. So to do that, let's undo what I just did. And we're just going to put, let's save this as a different tag. Let's go to File, Save As, Family. We'll just put this on my desktop and we'll call this a room finishes tag. And we'll save. So now I don't want the volume tag or the volume label, so I'm just going to select it and delete it. I don't want the area tag. I don't want the number label either. And then I don't want this dumb little box. I only want the room name, and then underneath it, I want the different finishes. So we're going to create a new label. You go up to Create, and there's a little command called Label, and you'll click that. And you'll click inside down where you want to place the label, and then it'll bring up this dialog box. And what's listed here, it's similar to a schedule. Do you remember the parameters and we just put them into the schedule? You're doing the same thing with the label. So we want the base finish, and we want the ceiling finish, and we want the wall finish, and we want the floor finish. So in this one label, you can put as many properties as you want from the room. So this is showing all the room properties. Just like if you were doing a room schedule, you'd get these same options. And you're telling it what you want to put into the label. So let's also do it in the order that I like the floor first. So we'll move it up just like we do in a schedule, then the base, then the wall, then the ceiling. So then for right now, because we're in the family editor, there's no room for this label to go look at. So do you see how it says room name? We can put the sample value here. So we'll just leave it. Sample value will be floor finish. This won't show up in the project when you put it into the project, but right now, here, let me just click OK. And here's our label that we just created. Oops. Now I can move it around. And there you go. So here's the room name, and then here's our label. But do you see how it's just pushing everything together? Floor finish, base finish, wall finish, ceiling finish. Let's see what that does when we load it into a project. So let's save it again. And then let's click, before we do that, let's go to View and close. Let's close inactive views. Okay, so now let's load this into the project. I'll save my project really quickly. Okay, now we've loaded our tag into our project. Let's double click to enter into our furnishings plan. Let's highlight the primary bathroom. And let's change the tag type. So here's our original room tag, but now we have our new tag. So let's go click on room tag. And now you can see it's typing out, this is what we've done. There's the name, and then here's all of the finishes that we put inside that room. So you can see it's doing what we want it to, but it doesn't look very good. So now let's figure out how to make it look good. Let's go back over here to our family. And I think it would be nice, the first thing would be if the finishes were a different size text than the room name. So let's click on our label and see what options we have. We have it aligned center. That's probably, actually I probably want to left justify it. And vertical alignment, let's start at the top. And if we need extra lines, it'll go down from the top. All right, so we made those finishes. Now, do you see how it says 1/8? The label is 1/8 of an inch text. Maybe let's make it smaller. Let's do 3/32. And if you wanted to, you could change it more. But let's say we can set how wide we want the text to go before it makes a new line. So let's set that up so that it only goes about like that before it makes a new line. So things are looking a little better now. I'm going to put a little more space in between the room name and the finishes, so there's a little bit of a gap now. We could even, on this one, we could even make it so that, so right now this label is using a 1/8 inch bold label. So we can edit the type and we can underline it. So now the room name is underlined, which gives a little bit more separation from the finishes. That might be nice. And the other thing we can do is we can edit the label again and see what other options we have for formatting. Right now, it just takes this parameter value and then it sticks the next one after it. So it's like one right after another in a chain. But wouldn't it be nice if there was a separate line for each different finish? So let's do that. If you click over here, if you hit the break button, it will then separate each finish into its own line. Okay, so now that I've done that, maybe I do actually want it to be center justified like that. So that looks a little better. Let's go back, let's select the label again and edit it. You can also add a prefix before or after the value. So if I wanted to do F for floor, so F equals, and then a space, and then maybe B equals space, W equals, equals space. Oh my goodness, I'm clicking all the wrong buttons. W equals space, and then C for ceiling equals space. Then you can click OK. And you see how now it puts that prefix in front of it. So now we can save this again. And let's load it into our project. And now you can see it looks like this. So now that's much easier to read, but maybe everything's still a little too big. So let's go back into our label right here. And let's make everything a little smaller. Let's change our label here. Let's rename it. Let's call this 3/32. And we'll change the text size here to 3/32 of an inch. That's the only thing we'll change. We'll click apply. So now that's a little smaller. Let's click on this label and let's edit it. And let's rename it 3/30 seconds, I think 1/16 is smaller. So let's do 1/16 of an inch. 1/16 of an inch here. Again, you can change other things. If you wanted to change the font or whatever, you could do that. But now we made everything just a little smaller. And let's bring these just a little closer to each other. Now let's save that. And let's reload it into the project. We'll override the existing version. And now that looks even better, doesn't it? So now our tag is looking pretty good. The only other thing I want to teach you is if you click on the regular room tag, do you remember how there's different types already loaded in that controls what is showing and what is not showing? We can do that with our tag too. So let's go back to our tag. And there's this little button down here, up here, that's called the Family Types dialog box. Click that, and it brings up the different types that you can have in your family. And because we copied the other family, it already has the types that were in the other family. So let's just delete those. So if you come over here and you hit this little button, it'll delete those. Just keep hitting delete until they're all gone. And then we'll rename this one. Oops. So you'll hit this little button, that's the rename tool, and we'll say room tag with finishes and click OK. So that's basically describes, it's going to have the name and it's going to have the finishes. So the other thing we want to do is if you look in here, it's also showing you what type parameters the label has. And we just want to get rid of those. So let's, because they're old and we changed what was in this family, we're going to delete these. So if you highlight one, you can come down here and hit the X and it'll delete it and say yes. Just delete it all, delete them all. And now it's blank and you can click OK. So clicking on this brings up the type properties. This is the same, this is exactly what it would look like if you were in the project and you opened the type properties from over here. Okay. So now what we want to do is maybe we want to make a version that just shows the room name, but not this label. So if you click on the label and you look over here, one of the things that you can change is whether this label is visible or not. See how it says visible? And you can uncheck the box and it would disappear. It doesn't disappear in the family editor, but it will disappear in the project. So we'll check that box because we do want it to be visible. But wouldn't it be nice if when you're in the project, you could choose if it was visible or not? So if you go over here where it says visible, there's the checkbox. But if you go to the very end, there's this little thing that says associate family parameter. Click on that. And it brings up this dialog box and you can create a parameter. So we will call it show finishes. And we'll just leave all the other settings the way that they are for now and click OK and click OK. So now when I look at the visibility for this label over here, you can see there's a little equal sign. So that shows that it's tied to a parameter. Now if we go back into this little dialog box, you can see that that parameter is there and it says show finishes and it's checked. So that means when the user selects the room tag with finishes type of this family, it's going to show the finishes. Now we're going to create a new type. So right here where it says new type, click new and just say room tag only and click OK. So now it says room tag only up here. And you see down here where it says show finishes, uncheck the box. So now what it means is if I switch to the room tag with finishes, it'll show the finishes. And if I switch to the one that doesn't show it, it won't show them. So let's click OK. And now let's see how this works in the actual project. So let's save it and then load it into the project. So now it kind of disappeared. So let's double click inside there. Let's click here and see, do you see how when we click in there on the tag, and look at what tag is selected, it says room tag. Oh, this is another thing that's tricky. Let's change this tag back to room tag. Let's change it back to something, to the other family that used to be there. We're going to go over here, and do you see in the browser where it says families? This will show you every family that's in your project. We're going to go to annotation symbols, and we're going to go to room tag. And ours is called, we named ours furnishings tag, or no, room tag finishes tag. Let's highlight that and delete it. That way it gets rid of our tag out. It's not loaded in the family anymore. It deleted it. Now let's go back to our family that we created and let's reload it. Sometimes there's problems if you keep updating and reloading it. So sometimes you just want to get rid of it and then re-upload it. So we're going to re-upload. And now it's reloaded that tag in for us. So now if you go back down here and look for room tag, here's our room finishes tag back in the browser. So now let's click on that bathroom again, that bathroom tag, and let's change it to, see how now our tag is loaded and there's only 2 types? Those are the 2 types we made in the family. There's the room tag only and the room tag with finishes. So let's click room tag only, and you see how it's only the room tag? And if you click and change it to the room tag with finishes, the finishes appear. So this is you making your first family, and it's a room tag. So now if you want, you can right click on the remaining ones and select all instances visible in this view, and you can change them now to the room tag with finishes. And now you can see the rooms where we already put finishes in, it automatically loads the finishes into the tag. And you can see them. And the rooms that don't have finishes yet have a question mark. So you can click on the tag, and if you click on the question mark, you can fill in the finishes here. So we could put, on the floor finish, we could do carpet. And then it puts it in here. Then for the base, we could do 6-inch paint white. Click OK. Right? And then you'll notice if you click on the room, it's also added it to the room. And if you look over here on your schedule, you can see the primary bedroom, it's been added here. So it's just another way you can also enter finishes into the rooms. You can do it by clicking on the room and editing the parameters. You can click on the tag and edit the parameters from the tag, or you can enter the schedule. You can double click on the schedule and enter it into the schedule. All right, good luck with that. Editing families is confusing, so if you have to watch this video or parts of this video a couple times to understand what's happening, that's okay. It's kind of complicated and it takes a minute for your brain to wrap around what's happening.